Hello, in this video I would like to talk about how the definition of information security has evolved over a period of time. If you go back into the 1970s, we would define information security largely along the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information, which essentially meant that if we were able to protect the confidentiality of the personal records, or we were able to ensure that the integrity of those records was maintained and they were available to people at the right time whenever they required it, we were to a large extent ensuring the security of the data, of the information. But however, over a period of time, and we gone into the 80s and the 90s, those requirements of confidentiality, integrity, and availability, important as they might have been and still are, have evolved into certain other requirements as well. I like calling them CIA+RITE requirements in the 1980s. RITE really stands for responsibility, integrity of people, trust, and ethicality. So when I say responsibility, it is who is responsible for that information in an organization. Do we have a data steward who is actually going to say that this information is under my control because I'm responsible, hence that individual is accountable for that information. So that has emerged to be a very important requirement beyond the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. At the same time, individuals who are occupying these very important roles in organizations who are going to be responsible for that information also are integral to the protection of information security. So integrity of the roles, integrity of the people who are occupying those roles who are going to be protecting information has become very important. Particularly in the 80s and 90s, it became really, really important. Then do you trust them? Do you trust those individuals who are going to be occupying those roles and the general ethics that surrounds those individuals? So confidentiality, integrity, availability of data, plus the responsibility, integrity, and trust and ethicality have really emerged to be some fundamental principles around which security is being designed or should be designed. But over a period of time, a couple of other requirements have crept in. Authenticity of the data has become very important of late. How do you trust the fact that this data hasn't really changed and it's authentic, it hasn't been manipulated in one way or the other? Non-repudiation has become a very important requirement for us. As these systems have become complex, another aspect which has really gained importance is the correctness of specification, particularly in the design of large and complex systems. If we haven't specified this system very well to begin with, which essentially means when we have the conceptual design of a system and that conceptual design gets translated into the logical design, which then later on you start putting all these control requirements and programming and all the stuff that goes into the system development stages at that stage, has that been done properly? So if the logical design does not reflect the conceptual design, and if the programs that we write, the if and then statements that we write, do not reflect very well with the logical design of the systems, we will say that the system has not been correctly specified, which really causes big security problems because you are going to have errors that are going to creep into the systems, and that is a problem domain that has become very important of late. And then finally, today, as we are in a socially connected world, identity of individuals, how that identity gets managed, how that identity gets protected, and how we manage the continuous evolution of individual identity over a period of time from one social network to the other has emerged to be one of the critical challenges in managing security. So today, when we look at the complex of information security, it is not just the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data that is required. It has gone way beyond that into responsibility of individuals, integrity of the roles who are occupying positions to protect data, trustworthiness of individuals, ethicality, authenticity, non-repudiation, and identity management. They have all come together to create the complex management of information security, not only more interesting but challenging as well.